Thank you, Erika, and all the organizing committee for having me here. I believe in, I think, reincarnations. I must have been a Slovenian in some time in my previous births. So I had an opportunity to be in Slovenia and to be part of these meetings. So it's wonderful to be here and to learn so much about this spirituality. The context till now we looked at was mostly a Catholic or a Christian background, though it's multi-religious, multicultural. In India, it will be entirely different. A majority Hindu country, but still we have a significant number of Muslims and Christians and Buddhists, Sikhs. So things will change heavily, but the discussion, the definitions, the questions that we are looking at now. So what exactly is the spirituality? The question of the very definitions is an issue in my view, in my understanding. So how do they look at it? Do they have one spirituality? Do they one understanding of religion? And then who defines and who decides? Those things can help us, because we are looking usually from the monotheistic perspective of a shared understanding, more or less, that we have. But here it will be very, very different. So for instance, if somebody is in a dying moment, some Hindus would like to have Ganga water. They would like to keep a sip of water from Ganga so that the person can die peacefully. And the doctors in the West get upset. No, don't go and touch him and don't go and put water into his mouth because he's on oxygen or somewhere else. So how do we reconcile with all these kinds of requests that people have? And then in many places, we have people of many religions in the same place. Like the doctor may be a Hindu and the nurse may be a Christian and the patient may be a Muslim. And so the interreligiosity is taken for granted in many, many contexts. Now it is being challenged and heavily questioned. And then we are having Hindu fundamentalism that is attacking, and it's everywhere. So that's a big challenge that we are having now. I'm not going to go into that place, but we have, India is a land of contradictions in the sense we have great scientists in the world and they are working everywhere else and including in India. And there is so much of superstition and that stubbornness. And then today, in fact, today literally, there is a village in South India when somebody says, I will give you this paste and COVID will disappear. Hundreds and thousands of them are going there. So there is a police problem there, a law and order problem there. So they have to discuss at the national level, what do you do with this guy? And then people are all going to flock there. Last month when I was in Delhi, you remember when the COVID was in its peak, 2 million people were there to take bath. Absolutely, there is no one to convince them that what you are doing is ridiculous and it is unscientific, and then this is not the way you are supposed to celebrate your spirituality or your bath and all that. But the parliament, the supreme, the lawyers and judges, and nobody could touch them because it's the power of the religion. Again, it's not whether it's spirituality or religion is a different issue. So in that sense, so we have a great research is going on, and the member of the parliament, she tells that cow urine is very good. I am having it every day and please have it. Now this is promoting cow urine. Maybe cow urine is good, but not this, but these things. So this is a member of parliament, and then sometimes is a Supreme Court judge who is promoting all these things just to distract people from the issues. So we are a big vaccine producer, and still maybe 1% of Indians got vaccine. So this is real contradictions. So we are really at crossroads in many other ways, like at the level of human dignity, human rights, equality, freedoms. That's the very, very background. So coming to some preliminary considerations, I wasn't sure exactly where to see audience and their understanding of Hinduism. So I'm at a very, very basic or elementary level. As we know, Hinduism is a great group, well, let's say a cluster of religious traditions, and you have castes and various other things. And then you have traditional, modern, popular, tradition, classic, and then Sanskritic, all those things are there. I will leave it there just. But there is one basic understanding that Hindu traditional tradition support, that you go through the stages of your life. When you are young, you be a good student and learn all that is to be done. And the word for the student is interesting there. You have it in Sanskrit, brahmacharya. Brahmacharya is to go after God, to go after God. A student is the one who is supposed to go after God. So to go after and learn things from that side. So that's the student's time. And then be a householder, take care of your family and be a good householder with family, children and all that. Then you slowly move away from there, what is called forest dwelling, and then finally renounce everything and so withdraw yourself towards that, towards God. It's not to give up everything, but move towards God in the evening of life. So this is not that most Indians did this. It's simply a horizon there for the traditional classical people. Most others may have been simple villagers living and doing their works in their own places. And then the other four goals, these are much more popular, dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. So uphold righteousness, and that's the first value. And second one is artha, acquire wealth, enjoy your life with lots of wealth and success. The third one is pleasure, both marital and in general, enjoy your life. So the fourth one is, and then finally, don't forget God, and there is a heaven. So work all the way towards that to reach that heaven. So this is the thing. So all of them have their own place, a right place. So one is not against the other. So we have asceticism, we have other things, but they are not pitted against each other as it happens in sometime in Christianity. And then be there where you are supposed to be and excel there. And health is taken to be granted as a prerequisite for any of these things. So your body, your health prepare for a healthy life and then a wonderful life. So the life affirmation, often Hinduism was misunderstood as a life negating religion. This simply suffer and die and then you will go, but it's not true. If you look at the history, Hinduism is a very, very life affirming religion. People enjoyed life, people did success, and then they built up, and then so many systems, economy, culture, religion, then art and architecture, and so all those things were there. So people did very well in their life. Change that. Yeah. So directly coming to the health, the role of health and where the overlaps between health and spirituality, we have two things. The first one is Ayurveda. Ayurveda is a school of medicine. It's a very good one of the indigenous schools that has been in the construction for thousands of years. The problem is a lot of these people, the hackers and all those unscientific guys also use that, but that's not true. It was a very scientific school of medicine, and they excelled very well 2000 years ago, 1000 years ago, and all that. Then there was a lull for various reasons, colonization and other things. But they tried to aim that the diagnosis was excellent diagnosis in their ways, and then to find out the root causes and then to treat them. So one specific thing is, like all the older medicines, it was always person specific. So you don't have a paracetamol 500 anywhere. Paracetamol will be suited to you, whether it will be 250 or 200 or anything. So what we have today is basic paracetamol 200, 500, 650, whatever it is. That's all. Only one thing is available to you. But every medicine is made for every patient at every time. This in most cases it was the way. So it was person specific and hardly had side effects. So across the country, and now what we call is allopathy, and then we have homeopathy and Unani and all these things. So each has their own strengths and limitations. Now there is a big danger and a big temptation to pit one against the other. So people, those who have wealth, will go ahead with the Western medicine, what we call allopathy, and then they are pushing. The government of India is pushing more and more Ayurveda, but in its unscientific form. That's why, if you know the case of Father Stan Swami, he was taken, he is in the jail. They don't have a regular doctor to take care of the patients in the jail. So the government has appointed a kind of a quack, what we call Ayurveda doctor, but himself doesn't know anything. And so he's not at all able to take care of people. And so Stan Swami said, "This with this medicine, will we go anywhere? It's not. There's no diagnosis. There is no scientific approach and all that. So that we have that difficulty in one pitting against the other. We need to recognize both of them have different strengths. Ayurveda is very good, but you need a long time systems, whereas allopathy has wonderful diagnostic capacities and technology and all those things are there. So you have yoga and pranayama. This is all over the world known today. Yoga, pranayama for holistic health. Again, a lot of spirituality comes into this. Breathing exercises, physical exercises. Most of you may have heard of yoga and pranayama, that means breathing exercises. They are excellent, but then most of them have some spirituality, prayers, mantras intertwined into that. So when you breathe in, you say the name of God, or when you breathe out, you say the name. So literally, originally they were scientific exercises, but then the spirituality has come into the systems. So they are excellent in themselves to improve the health of the people. The whole point is holistic health. Health not from a martial arts perspective, that you have to build up your stamina for fighting with someone else, but simply you have to build up your health as God's child. So what's the reason? The third one, that what's the reason is we need to take care of ourselves. So the anthropological foundations are here. We are all spiritual. We are all spiritual. Here, all means all, not just the human beings. From the plants to the animals to the dog that you have there, and then the insects in this room. All of them are spiritual beings, but they are graded. Obviously, we will have to have the food, and then there will be a lot of violence in some forms. But in itself, it's possible. So they are all there, because the idea is that there is transmigration of souls. So you are going through, you happen to have done wonderful things, so now you are a human being, and if you do well, you will become a much better human being, and finally you will be able to go to the heaven worlds, whatever it is. And if you don't do well, you will go down, you will become a dog, maybe you will become a donkey, or whatever you will become. So, and then the plants and whatever it is. So that anthropology is fascinating story-wise. But doctrinally we will have difficulties and problems there. So the divine soul is there, and we are all part of that human souls, and then whatever soul they have, animal souls, and then all the souls basically came from God, and they have to go back to God. So they may take their own time. Some may get thousands of years, some may get few years, some may get lost, short, long, and all that depends on each. So this is a basic presupposition across Hindu understanding, let's say. Even Buddhism, Jainism, and others will share with these things. So the idea of karma, samsara, that means karma means if you do well, things will be better, and if you don't do well, you will have to pay back for that. The idea of sin will be different again. And samsara means lives and lives again and again. This is good as long as it promotes you and then prepares you to live a wonderful life and to take care of the others. But then there is a caveat which has a negative side. That means if you happen to be a poor person, if you happen to belong to a lower caste, this is your bad luck. This is your bad karma. Try to do well. Don't fight it. If God wants you to suffer, please suffer a little so that things will be better in the next life. So that is where we have a difficulty with that understanding. But otherwise, in itself, it has some sense. Then a unique factor that makes humans related to the others is all beings are graded, and in one way or the other, all of them are from that source and are going back to that source. Humans have some advantage. We are in already advanced stage. And then some of them are even more advanced. Then there's again a problem. If you are a Brahmin, yes, I will make it 2 minutes.
Yeah,
yes,
sorry.
Yeah. So Brahmins are even much more advantageous because they are almost reached there. That's where it is difficult. So the creation myth, one of the creation myths is some of us are made from his God's head, and then the shoulders, and from the belly, and from the leg. And then that has brought what we call the whole caste system. Some are pure, some are impure, and then some of them deserve to be in that place. So basically, it was upholding the hierarchy, inequality, injustice, discrimination, and all those things. So the creation myth continues. Unfortunately, with all these 70 years of independence, we thought things will become better. But again, you have millions of people in India who are upholding and reaffirming these kinds of things. Those poor fellows in the village need to be there because that's their bad luck and their karma. So let them be there. So I'm bringing all these things because of the health, the impact it will have on the health of the people, the understanding of spirituality. So to put it simply, we have a democracy, we have a political rights that give us, that treats us as an equality platform. Then you have religious and cultural rights that uphold inequality. So we think we are equal at one day, and then we think we are equal in the evening when we go to a prayer service. So religion and spirituality reminds again and again we are unequals, whereas democracy and then all this modern understanding tell that we are all equal according to Constitution of India, according to the freedom we are equal. So this drama goes on in the country. I thought things will be better, but they are only getting worse now. So but then it's so in this understanding, how do we see what Hindu spirituality is, and then how we have to appropriate those finer elements of Hindu spirituality. There have been some gurus, most of you know Sai Baba, and then the hugging mom, Amma Amritanandamayi, and there have been many in small pockets. They did an excellent work bringing spirituality and health and then the holistic understanding, and they were more spirituality based. The present religion is more of the ferocious attack based, like, divide the people and then the other, and then you are supposed to attack them, especially the whole hegemonic forces of the Hindu fundamentalism is there. So we have to see how we can reinforce the proper understanding of spirituality, or streams of Hindu spirituality that can help in a better understanding of health and well-being, especially the public discourse. Even today, the government plays with this game very well. So it will still tell, if you say that this is okay and this school of thought is okay and this medicine is okay, so it's a spirituality that is harming people. So we have to see whether that spirituality can enhance people rather than it harms people. So we have to fight against those unscientific approaches so that the under dignified lives, we can do something about it. So I think that's in a brief, that's what it is. So I wanted to bring more of the socio-cultural elements that have to be understood to make better in this discourse. Thank you.